Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie. This is week 9 of the talk show. We are finally halfway through the season. It's the mid-season mark. And we are going to do the show. We've got Andrew with us. We've got Sky with us. Welcome back, Sky. It's been a while since you've been on, so welcome back.
Thank you. Hello.
I had a very fun time on the college show the other day for you, Andrew. It was very good. You listened to it back and you said I was for someone who doesn't watch much college, I was well researched.
Yeah, well researched. I was very impressed. You did a very, very good job. You asked all the right questions. So it was actually a very good listen. I've now started to think maybe you should come and join me on it.
Well, we'll have to see what happens going forward. And thank you, Alex, again for having me on. And it was a really good time. And you can check out that show and all of our shows on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you check us on all on social media. We're on every platform and every podcast platform as well, if you want to listen to this podcast rather than watch it. But obviously you got to watch it. You know, we're good looking guys. You got to watch it. So yeah, we're going to do our mid-season awards for the week 9 talk show. It's sort of a shame because we had what was a pretty topsy-turvy, crazy weekend of NFL, really. I mean, the Patriots still rolling, 6 wins on the bounce now, Sky. You must be pretty pleased.
6 wins, baby, for the team with 6 championships. Hell, it's happening, right?
Oh,
I mean, May didn't play his best game over the weekend, did he? But bless him. But he's still getting the wins.
I was going to say, still to game-winning drive without relying on the defense. I know it was a bit nervy, but it's easy to perform when you are blowing teams out. So it's good to get a tight win. Yeah,
it's a sign of a good team winning when you're not playing very well, surely. So got to carry on and continue doing that.
Roll on the playoffs.
Roll on the playoffs, roll on January. Jeez, it's creeping up ever so quickly. Right, so we'll start our evening with the comeback player of the year so far. Now, this is going to be at what we think of week 9, not what we think probably by the end of the season. So, comeback player of the year so far. Andrew, I'm going to start with you. You said this is a very small list. You said it's got to be like one of 2 people.
So yeah, it's Dak Prescott. Surely.
You're giving it to Dak?
I'm giving it to Dak. I mean, who else is playing? Freddie wanted him to be in the MVP chat. He wanted to say he should be in for that. So the team isn't good enough for that. He's not good enough for that. He's not going to get offensive player of the year because that doesn't really go to a quarterback. So if he's not getting that, surely he's getting comeback player of the year. This is a big comeback for him. He's playing absolutely, as you said, MVP level football, not actually the MVP. So I think it's got to be Dak for me for this award.
So that was on the short list of what you said, 3 people, right? You thought,
yeah, I've got 3. CMC was my other one for that one, and then you're probably looking at maybe Hutchinson as well. Yeah, maybe
that's the 3rd one I had.
Yeah, what's your short list looking at, Sky? I feel like.
Well, I've got me and Adam had a shame. Adam's got the most serious disease in the world, being man flu. We wish him all the best, not just because the Packers lost to the Panthers, but Christian, we get to see my awful handwriting.
Oh dear!
The only reason I went for McCaffrey was because we know to be fair, Dak's had some bad injuries in the past as well. But I know it's ridiculous when it's our age. Sitting over here, me having Wingstop last night, talking about people in good condition. But 29 years old for a running back in the NFL, given his injury history, and then to, still show that he is an elite level player. And the Niners have been banged up. Defenses have known that he's been getting the ball. And playing with Matt Jones as well, who's obviously another quarterback who's thrived in a Shanahan system. But yeah, I think at this point in the season, I would go with McCaffrey.
I think I know I really planted the flag on the old Dak Hill, didn't I, a couple of weeks ago? So I should really be leaning towards Dak Prescott, really. But yeah, McCaffrey, I mean, it's not like Dak's had loads of injuries in front of him. Like his O-line's been pretty healthy. They've had a few injuries there. His running backs played really well. Say again?
Lamb was out. I'm sure see Andrews. I could see him ready to.
Yeah, lost his best wide receiver. Had a lot of other people have to step up. His O-line, you say it's been healthy. It's very young. It's little youngsters that needed to progress this year. It's not a load of veterans supporting him. Yeah, I think he's Javonte Williams has played well though.
We rotate as Dak fans. It was like me a year ago. Then we had Fred, and now Andrew, the Giants fan, is like.
I'm not saying I'm a fan. I just think he's worthy of this award. You know, I've got to give him one. So,
I think McCaffrey is incredibly impressive. What he did, but in a way, I'm like McCaffrey's just back to the level we know McCaffrey's on. Whereas I don't really think we've seen this level of Dak for really since like when he sort of broke out. And he sort of now got back onto that when he broke out. And then it's been like a massive lull. And we even were a bit like when he got that big contract, we were a bit like, oh, I don't know, maybe they might regret that later, later on in his career. And I would have said you probably would have done after last year with his injury. And then he's come back this year and he's performed at an unreal level. So, yeah, I mean, quarterback's it's the most important position in football, isn't it? Like, let's be honest. Like, as much as McCaffrey, like I said, banged up Mac Jones, but and they've had a banged up offense as well. But McCaffrey's playing to the McCaffrey level for me, whereas Dak is exceeding the level that I think we all thought he was sort of plateauing at in a way. So I'm going to go with Dak as well. I mean, I've got a few options as well as we go through, and I just didn't have a comeback player of the year, but it's fine. I think Dak's thoroughly deserving of that. Well, let's go to. I mean, this is going to be, I feel like, the shortest section of this whole thing, and that is Coach of the Year.
Oh,
you can put up your sign if you like, if you want, Sky, and I think we'll probably all say in unison the same person.
Do you know what? I have 4 names, but I'm reluctantly gonna just go for, just so we can laugh each time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Shane Steichen.
I think there is. I think there's one other guy for me that deserves to be in the chat, because obviously the Colts did falter, but what he's done with Daniel Jones is very, very impressive. I think Mike McDonald needs to be in the chat. I think there's an argument to be made that they are the best team in the NFC at the moment, and they were, before the season started, when we looked at that division, they were the 3rd favorites in their own division, and they're looking like they could be the best in the NFC right now. So, I think, again, a very young team, young wide receivers, new quarterback, and to come out and be playing this well straight off the bat, I think that's down to the coaching.
I think you can make a strong argument for that, for sure. I just think I don't think McDonald hasn't turned around a dud. Like this Colts team has been terrible for a good period now.
Well, it's not been terrible, has it? It's been one quarterback away. It's been one quarterback away since Andrew Luck left, hasn't it? And they just tried to patch it up with like Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz and Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew and people like that, haven't they? So Matt Ryan. Yeah, I think they've been one quarterback away. And I think the O-line's always been good. I've always liked the wide receivers. They've been strong on defense over the years. But it's just the fact he's getting what he's getting out of Daniel Jones is why he needs to win the award, isn't it? The guy was a fumble machine. He couldn't throw the ball deep down the field. He can only throw it short. And now he's not dropping the ball and absolutely gunning it down to Alec Pierce. So I think that's why Shane Steichen's at the top of everyone's list, isn't it?
The 2 others I would have, obviously I'd throw out Mike Vrabel's name. I'm going to do that.
Deserved.
And also Shanahan, again, for the same reasons I was saying with McCaffrey. Just sort of banged up, but he's probably 4th on the list. The reason I like the McDonald thing that Andrew said there is because what were they, 10-win team last year and just missed on the playoffs?
Yeah.
I think people don't give enough credit to when you still continue winning. It's very easy to go, oh, well, that team was awful and they've turned it around. But then you get a tougher schedule, even though you haven't, they still have played teams like Jags, Cardinals, Saints. I guess in theory, they're probably the NFC version of the Patriots. Some people are questioning who they've played, but you still got to beat who's in front of you. So by the end of the season, I mean, especially after the Colts dropped a stinker yesterday, it might well be that I think we're all pretty sold on the Seahawks making the playoffs, and he probably will get it. But at the halfway point, I
find notoriously this award doesn't go to the big names. It won't go to a McVay or a Shanahan or someone like that. It's someone who's doing better than expected. I think Dave Canales should be above those guys in terms of, if we're talking about right now, did any of us have the Panthers where they are currently and looking like a decent team. They look like they could cause some problems. I don't think they're going to light up the world this season, but they're going to cause some problems along the way. They did last night. So
that's probably one of the obvious way you could go why Vrabel's not in this list, because I don't think anyone doubts how good Vrabel is. I don't think anyone's ever doubted that. As much as he's doing fantastic with the Patriots, don't get me wrong, I think he thoroughly should be. And of course, having that year out and then coming in and doing so well straight off the bat. But we all felt that he's not a bad coach. It was just Tennessee. It just sort of the time ran out there. And for whatever team he joined, which we all knew it would be the Patriots, was going to be successful. All right, maybe not as successful as they have been straight off the bat. I think a lot of that is to do with the excellent form of Drake May as well, even though again he wasn't fantastic over the weekend, but he's still playing at a very, very good level. And you're right with Dave Canales. I mean, yeah, Panthers was seen as a team that weren't going to do very. And I think that's why Shane Steichen's also getting the plaudits he's getting, because I think a lot of people at the start of the season were going, well, it's probably going to be a toss up between Colts or Jags to bottom this division, and they're flying. And I know, okay, they've come up against. They've lost over the weekend, and it was a real bad loss for them, 5+ takeaways. But as a Steeler fan and having watched a lot of Steeler games, we really turned up. That was any given day, I think, whatever team we played, we would have really gone at them and given them a go. And that was a get-right game for us to sort of get back to some winning ways and sort of grab the collar of the AFC North again and say that we can win this division. So though this weekend is a bit of an anomaly for this season for the Colts, I still think he's turned this team around. And like I said, everyone was out on Daniel Jones. The whole league.
Shane Steichen, a lot of people thought this would be it for him, didn't they? They thought he'd be sacked. So,
but maybe he's just a good coordinator.
Mm-hmm. He's at least saved his job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Daniel Jones is still. I mean, we don't need to go down that one. But by the end of the season, don't worry, they'll drop off.
Well, he threw 3 interceptions last night, didn't he? So maybe
he looked like that is the game he had last night is what I see if they make the playoffs. That will just how there's just teams that it sounds a bit harsh.
He shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times. No. That's the issue. Don't rely on him.
But they couldn't run on us. They could, and that's what they will come up against in the playoffs. And that's where I'm a little bit. We've seen this before. I've seen it before with the Steelers. We've seen it with the Cardinals, where they have a superb season up until about week 15, and it seems to whittle off. They get to the playoffs and they get bounced straight away, and you're like, well, that's there's then that conversation of who have they really beaten and stuff like that. And then in the playoffs, it's a different animal, and defenses step up and teams step up, and you have a lot more of a back catalogue of film to be able to go and study these teams. And if the Colts get to the playoffs now, this game week 8 Steelers Colts is the game that people are going to sit down and watch and go, right, how did they stop them? Because the score looks close, but that was very complimentary, I thought, for the Colts with the scoreline in the end, to be honest with you.
Yeah, garbage time score. But at least Shane Steichen might have some shiny thing on his mantelpiece, even if they do get bounced in the playoffs.
Right, let's move on to the rookies. We'll start with the offensive rookie of the year. Again, I think this is a short list. I've got 2 guys. And unfortunately, it would have been Cam Scatterby if it wasn't for the injury. It would have been. It absolutely would have been in my book. It would have been Cam Scatterby. But
I think you're on the right team, just the wrong player, Fred.
Oh, really?
That's who I want to write, but maybe I should be different.
I mean, I
definitely had like a good 10 seconds there where I didn't have a clue who you were talking about, and it just penny dropped in my head, and I was like, "Well, idiot!" But yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Andrew. Carry on, please.
Before the season started, when we did the betting show, obviously we talked about this award, and I was all on one guy winning this award and put some money on him. I think I got him like 14-1 before the season started. I cashed out on it the other week because I just thought, you know what, the person I think is going to win it now is clear favourite. So cashed out on it, got quite a bit back on it, but I still think he's in the running as well as my name. I've got 3 on my list.
Who's top of it though? Have you stayed faithful to your team?
Yes, it's Jackson Dart. Surely Jackson Dart's winning this award. I mean, look what he did last night as well. I know, yes, straight off the bat, he looked fantastic. He looked good. I think he's built every single week. But, you know, contributed for 2 passing and a rushing touchdown again with what weapons has he got? He's lost Cam Scatterboot. He's lost Malik Neighbours. He's got people coming off of the practice squad, filling in at wide receiver. Tyrone Tracy's is decent, but he's not, you know, a top 10, top 15 running back. So I think what he's been able to do, the way he looks, the way he plays, I think he's on a very similar trajectory as what Drake May is. I think they've got very similar play styles. And I think Drake May kind of, when he first came in 3 games into the season, we were like, yeah, there's something there. This looks good. And he was working with a lot of a Duffo line, wide receivers that people, you know, wouldn't really have as their backups, and getting results. And I think Jackson Dart's on the same trajectory, and we know how well Drake May's playing at the minute. So it's looking bright for the future for Jackson Dart as well.
Do you concur, Sky? Is that, I mean, he's just comparing it to your quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about Jackson Dart, but I'm still going to go with.
Yeah, that's who I had my money on. That's the guy I cashed out on.
I just think because of Evans getting injured, Godwin's been hurt, Jalen McMillan's not even back. People forget about his neck injury in the preseason, and obviously the Buccaneers are still a force to be reckoned with. He's got 5 touchdowns in 8 games. I know he just had a pretty poor game, but coming off the bye, they're going to play the Pats next. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Well, he's on pace for over 1,000 yards. He's on 5.62 now. I mean, there's always this sort of like, depending on the award, the narratives play into records, right? I guess it depends how many the Giants win between now and the end of the year, whereas Tampa Bay make the playoffs and he's the standout wide out one for that team, then I think you'll just find a lot of people maybe just get going and edging towards giving him the award. And
that might be why Jackson Dart might not win it, I think.
Yeah, I think the key thing for Egbuka as well, which people didn't expect him to do, is he's getting in the end zone as well. People thought he was just going to be a chain mover, you know, across the middle, sort of like pick up the yards and the receptions, but maybe not be a game changer in the end zone. But he's getting those touchdowns as well. So I think he's for me with the start of the season, like I said, I cashed out quite well on it. He's still one of the front runners and one of the favourites for this by the odds. So I think he's got a chance to surpass Dart and win it quite comfortably.
I have gone for neither of them.
You've gone for a tight end?
I've gone for a tight end, yeah. I've stuck very much to the theme of this episode so far with Indianapolis Colts. I've gone for Tyler Warren, and unfortunately, we like the educated people who knew that what he was coming into the draft, and the people who follow college and have followed the players in it. And you know, I don't follow loads of college football, but when it comes down to draft season, I find out a lot, and I go and watch a lot, and I listen to a lot. And I would say that maybe the reason why he's third on the list of this now is that he is just doing what everyone expected that he was going to do. He is doing really well. Everyone sort of expected he was going to do really well. There was question marks over Egbuka, like you said, getting into the end zone, just being a chain mover. There was massive question marks over Jackson Dart. Is he going to be NFL ready? Can he fit in with the Giants? Can anybody fit in with the Giants, sort of thing? And Warren's just playing incredibly well. You know, he's incredibly secure, 42 for 57. 42 receptions, 518 yards, 3 touchdowns. All right, he's not getting the touchdowns, but he is being that security blanket for Daniel Jones, and he's where he unfortunately maybe does go down for it is that the ball is going everywhere in Indianapolis at the minute. If he was in a different team, maybe I think he'd be getting a lot more targets. And I definitely think if he was in a different team that was more focused on him, he would be beating Brock Bowers' his reception record that he set last year. So that's so as much as I think it should be Dart, but I think Warren has to have a shout in there because I think you should still be rewarded even though you're playing to the level people expected you to be playing at. He's still playing incredibly well.
Warren's going to struggle due to the position that he plays. I found this, you know, we've done the show in previous years, and when we've talked about offensive player of the year, and I've gone, well, it's Travis Kelce. You know, he's broke every single record for the tight end that he can in one season. You know, receptions, yards, touchdowns, everything. And I'm going, well, he's the offensive player, and it doesn't go to him ever because he's nowhere near the stats of what the wide receivers are putting up. You know, the wide receivers have got more receptions, more yardage, more touchdowns, and it will always go to one of them. So I think Warren's going to have to go a long way to catch Ibuka in that front, just based on volume alone because of the position. But I do think that the tight ends get overlooked for awards.
Gronk never won it.
They should be. So
in his career, Gronk won Comeback Player of the Year in 2014, but he never won that. And I think to the point that Fred made, unless Brock Bowers didn't get it last year, was Jaden Daniels. So, you know, unless he broke that record, I think it's just an easier bet for the voters to go, well, how has Dart elevated the Giants with his injuries, or what, depending on what seed Tampa Bay are and how many more touchdowns Ibuka gets, then it will just go to one of those two. But Scatterboo could have been a decent shout if he didn't get hurt. He's starting to establish himself. It's a shame.
Fan favorite as well. I mean, when you've got Eagles players cheering you on the field, he's one of those players he's going to be generational for the sport, not just for the Giants fans. I think everyone loves him, so he would have got that on his a tick on his box as well.
That's two players I like on your and neighbours. I don't like this. This is horrible. That's three. We might talk about him later, actually.
I was going to say, do you not think moving on to the rookie defensive player of the year, don't you think he might play for the Giants, Sky?
No. Did you
Who
say no as well, Andrew?
Currently, as we speak, as we said, we're marking it now where they are in the season. I've not got him at the top of my list for defensive rookie. There's a player on our team that's outshining him by a long way, and he's not put up incredible stats. He's just playing well in a good front seven defense at the minute. So he's not the guy I've got for defensive rookie of the year.
For everyone who's not understanding who that is Abdul Carter. We're talking about edge rusher.
I struggled with this one because the stats don't light up for many of the players. I know it's not always stats, but
the eye test is a guy for me that I think he's been flying around everywhere, and I think he's been really good. And it's a guy that you liked going into the draft, Sky.
Do you want to go on?
Carson Schlesinger at the Browns.
I got him second.
He's literally
playing wicked.
He's playing so well. If you watch them play, he's everywhere, and he's playing at linebacker as well, which is not a sexy position. He's not that edge rusher sort of like getting all the sacks like Myles Garrett. But I'm seeing every time you put the Browns on, it's him. He's flying around, which I'm seeing him a lot more than anyone else. I know it'd be very easy to maybe look at the cornerbacks for this award, but just because again you see them highlighted more of what they're doing. But Schlesinger for me currently is the guy.
What about you, Fred?
I mean, I didn't put the research in for defensive rookie. I think the problem with defensive things, it's like we said with the tight end stuff, is that you look at sacks and interceptions, don't you? Whereas for me, defensive player, I think is an eye test thing. Who's the guy where you watch the telly all the time and he pops up all the time? And I mean, defensive rookie.
I can buy you some time if you want.
No, yeah, you go ahead. Nick Amenwari. I mean,
I might have the recency bias of staying up and watching last night's game, but I just think considering he hurt his ankle earlier in the year, and it's a lot we'll talk about someone like Jackson Dart coming in, obviously, like when you've sat on the sidelines healthy, looking at the playbook, don't get me wrong, you can still do that when you're injured, but you're recovering. I think he hurt his ankle against the Niners. I think he led the Seahawks in tackles last night, and he's also been black because Witherspoon's been out. He's been playing a lot of nickel packages. He's been everywhere. Look, maybe it's in my head that it could be at the end of the season he'll establish himself, but I just think that the last 3 weeks I've taken more notice of the Seahawks in the last few weeks. I think early on in the season, like we were saying about Mike McDonald and that award, it was just more like, is it just they're putting a couple of decent performances together? But now that they're sat at 6-2, I was like, the last few weeks, I'm like, he's stood out well. And they've got some decent playmakers on that defense anyway. Again, so for him to come in as a rookie and do that, I like where he's at.
Yeah, I think if I was going to pick one of them, I have to admit, every time I've seen the Browns play, Schlesinger is the one that you hear about. And I like Nick Memori a lot. I think Stark's doing all right at the Ravens, but I feel like he just came off of a pretty good game. He had that pick as well.
Yeah.
So he sort of sticks in my brain because he just had a really good game. Have I watched him? Have I watched Ravens week on week to say he's playing at a great level? I mean, they're getting thrown on quite a lot, the Ravens, unfortunately, but I think that's because they're on the field a lot at the moment. They're missing some of their big guys as well. I don't know. I'm this one I'm struggling on quite.
Isn't it crazy that obviously we mentioned him at the start of Abdul Carter? He's actually the favourite currently.
Yeah, now, I can't believe that.
Whether they're projecting that through the second half of the season he's going to get more sacks, more tackles,
more. Got half a sack, or I imagine
half a
that.
sack.
Yeah.
I mean, his solo tackles are okay. You know, he is putting a bit of pressure on. He passes the eye test in terms of this guy's going to be great. Same with Campbell as well. He's the second favourite. Yeah. Not really put up major stats, but for some reason they're the two that I'm guessing the bookies seem to think they're going to kick on and have a good second half. But I don't know. This is what I mean. It's safeties and linebackers we're then talking about after that, which aren't necessarily positions that stand out on the stats. So it's eye test, isn't it? And whoever you're watching that week. There's
no corners really that have come out from this draft that are light in the world.
Well, it would have been Will Johnson, wouldn't it? But I think is he back injured again? He was looking like he was playing well, and then I think he got injured again, didn't he? But yeah, there's no corners in it at the moment. I don't think. I think he's probably the highest.
Well, let's stick on defense. We'll go to defensive player of the year. And it seems as I didn't really contribute a whole lot to that rookie defensive player of the year. I'm going to start with my one. And I know he's sort of whittled off a little bit in the last few weeks in terms of his stat wise, but having watched him, and again, someone every time I watch the telly, he pops up. Nick Bonito at Denver is the top for me. I mean, he's fourth in sacks. He's got 4 sacks, 12 in pressures, 18, 6 quarterback knockdowns. I mean, he's contributing to a defense that's just like been unreal. They've been so good. And I have to admit, I do like the narrative a little bit that there hasn't been a back-to-back player since 2017, 2018, which was Aaron Donald, but there's not been a back-to-back player on the same team that has won it since 03, 04, and that was the Ravens, and that was
Ray Lewis
and
Terrell Suggs.
No.
Well, if he's on the Ravens team.
Yeah, on the Ravens. He was on the Ravens.
Oh, someone else.
So it was Ray Lewis and 03, 04.
What a brain fart.
Come on, Andrew. You've got all the knowledge in the world. You know it. Come on. Dig deep. 03, 04 Ravens. Defense.
Yeah. Maybe I've gone early with Suggs. Maybe it was a bit later.
Yeah, it's later, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, Fred.
Plays in the secondary.
Oh my God. Ed Reed.
Ed Reed, yeah.
There we go.
Reed.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I was thinking hard hit and say, oh, he was so good.
Ed Reed was class. So good. But there hasn't been a back-to-back same team defensive player of the year. Because obviously Pat Surtain, the cornerback, won it last year. So I like that as well. I really like that narrative. He has sort of
stats, Fred. Sorry. I just you've lit a fire under me. Those stats. You should be proud. Just all of that. The Raven, the back-to-back.
I just think it's a great storyline. I think the Broncos defense has been unbelievable. And I would probably maybe gone Pat Surtain if it weren't for the injury. If it weren't for him being injured, I think I maybe would have stuck with him and gone, right, he'll do back-to-back and he'll be the first player to do it back-to-back because he was playing at such an elite level before he got injured.
I think Bonito is obviously on my list. I think he's the best pass rusher when I watch games. As in his skill, as in I don't know, just his technique. Maybe it's because it's on that defense and there's other, but yeah. I know what Andrew, God, you have to go. I know what you're going to say.
Well, I got him at 40-1. He's now 33-1, but he's leading the league in sacks. He's leading the league in total tackles. He's leading the league in solo tackles. I mean, why are we not talking about if the stats and how he's playing and carrying a defense and being the leader of what we're saying is a real strong front seven? Why is Brian Burns not in this conversation?
I think he's in the conversation. I'm not saying he's not in the conversation.
I was looking, Andrew. This will obviously back up what you said. He's had a sack in every game but one. Whereas everyone else has sort of been a bit spread about, like multiple.
Yeah, you got Miles Garrett having like 5 sacks in one game.
Yeah, exactly.
Stats a bit, yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I'll give something to a Giants player. I've got to. Why not? But then I think the third name for me, Byron Young on the Rams, maybe because we saw him in London.
Yeah.
He had a good game in London. I think he's, again, a name that maybe not everybody's familiar with, but I think, again, it helps when you see them live. He had a great game at Wembley. And he's on 9 sacks. So,
yeah, bar the big game from Miles Garrett, Byron Young's been toe to toe with Burns, hasn't he? In terms of just the solo tackles and assists and total tackles and everything like that as well. He's just been nipping at the heels of Burns, just slightly behind him. So.
Yeah, on a team where everyone's like Nakua, Adams, Stafford,
the Rams are Fisk.
Yeah, exactly. It was sexy on both sides of the ball, but sexier names on defense, and then all the offensive guys get all the praise.
50-1, by the way, Sky.
Byron Young.
Yeah.
Well, that's so
all the guys we think it should go to are nowhere near. Parsons is top, and then
because we watched the sport.
Mike Parsons is an interesting one. Do you think is
he up there? It's actually annoying.
He's had some really good big plays. Like at the start of the season, he wasn't on the field for the whole of the games. They were bringing him in at points that they knew they were going to need him. And I think because he's been on prime time a little bit, and they've gone, do you know what? This is a big play. We need a guy to step up, and he's been that guy. But I think that's individual sort of hand-picked highlights, if you like. Whereas the guys we're talking about are being solid through every single game, every single week, on every snap. So. Maybe it's that. Maybe they think he's going again. Maybe they think he's going to kick on, and he's got the bigger chance of producing the bigger stats towards the end of the year when it matters. I don't know. I don't think these awards should definitely go to people who are on winning record teams so much. I think that's an MVP sort of award. So I think you give it to the actual best player, even if they're not on the best team, sort of thing. But it doesn't seem that way, does it?
No.
I am going to have to honourable mention, because he won't be talked about because of the position he plays, but Hufanga as well, the safety at Denver, he's been so good as well.
Fred, are you just watching Denver and the Colts? No one else?
Do you blame me? Denver are playing amazing, and Colts are playing amazing. Well, they were playing amazing, and Denver have been well. Denver's had one bad game, and it was when we watched them at Tottenham, which is pretty annoying.
It's still good defensively, though, weren't there? Was that 10 sacks that day?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. I think Hufanga, like, the safeties don't really win it, and Hufanga's been amazing this year. He's been unplayable at times. Like he's been. I think the sort of the lead. He sort of reminds me a bit of Troy Polamalu a little bit with how he plays and his hair and the style and stuff like that. Like I mean, I know San Francisco had to do it because of monetary reasons, and they needed to relieve some of the cap. But man, I think if they went back, they'd change who they'd be paying a little bit. I think they'd be moving the money around a little bit for someone like him again now, because he's so good. And I think we're unfortunately going to be really boring and have all the same offensive player of the year, aren't we, as well?
I have a different name because I know what scenario is coming, but yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah, I've got an alternative name, but yeah, if it doesn't go to the guy that we've all got, then...
Well, I will kick us off with who it probably will go to, which is Jonathan Taylor. Amazing. I mean, second in attempts, 157, first in yards, 895 currently, first in touchdowns, 12, first in first downs, 47, first in yards per attempt, 5.7, second in yards per game, 99.4, and hasn't fumbled once yet. I mean, again, it's a little bit like the Christian McCaffrey conundrum of like, Taylor is looking like exactly what he looked like about 4 years ago. He was playing at an amazing level, and then had injuries, got niggles, probably was getting relied on too much a little bit because of how poor the Colts were and the quarterback that they were having in the building. and maybe got a bit of overworked. And now it's that good tandem of Jones being able to throw the ball. Obviously, threw the ball one too many times against the Steelers. It was about 50 plus attempts, which is crazy. But Jonathan Taylor it was the only team he's not really ran on that well, to be honest. And he's playing at a great level. And he's going to smash. I hope he might be looking to smash some records if he keeps up this momentum with how
he's ahead of Saquon, isn't he, at this point of the season when Saquon won it last year? I think he's currently ahead of him. And I think the fact that he's putting up breaking records for 3 touchdown games as well.
There was some obscene stat about that. I can't remember it. I seeing it last week.
He's only quarterbacks, isn't it?
Fifth game,
like a list of people that have had 3 touchdowns in one game and how many times they've done it, and it's all quarterbacks. Obviously, and throwing the touchdowns and getting. So and then you've got him.
So just to sling the cat amongst the pigeons, Sky, who's you're sort of involved in that area?
Should we say his initials at the same time, Andrew? Because I know you've got the same person. All right, 3, 2, 1. J. JSN. I was going to go like J.
Oh, okay.
we obviously good for the viewers. We didn't practice that. So. He's got 948 yards on 58 catches. That is ridiculous. And he's finally the guy that we expected. It's happened. They've unlocked his potential.
Yeah, he's one of these wide receivers that going into the draft, people overlooked because he wasn't the number 1 guy on his team in college. And I think he's one of these guys that's always had to fight hard for his position because he's a bit smaller, not like the biggest, chunkiest receiver out there. And he gets overlooked, and it's nice that he's been given his opportunity because I really loved him and said, you know what, we're going to get rid of everyone. You're our wide receiver 1 for our team. And it's instant connection because he's not doing this with a guy that has been his quarterback for many years and it's just finally clicking. It's with a new guy, and it was like day 1. So that just proves how good of a wide receiver he is and what he's been able to achieve. And talking about a team that we said looking like one of the best teams in the NFC at the moment. So it's down to him on that offense, I think. So, yeah, it's any other time he probably would have been the front runner.
It's pretty remarkable that he was like 3rd string 2 years ago behind DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And it was like, why are you not above Tyler Lockett at least? And then they've got rid of more. And I think even people were a little bit like, oh, with the DK trade this offseason and went like, I don't know if that was the right idea. I don't know if we should have done that. I mean, you got Sam Darnold in now. DK would have been really good for him. We're not really seeing it from JSN. Can he step up and be that guy? And he's just absolutely silenced the critics completely. And I know, Andrew, you're an Ohio State fan, so you never doubted that this guy's got talent and that he can be the number 1. But for the neutral and everyone else out there, I think everyone was thinking, well, it might be a decent 2. But he's showing everyone, isn't he? He's just showing everyone. Yeah,
definitely. I think there was another wide receiver that could have been in this conversation. He's the one that I had for Offensive Player of the Year before the season started. And that through 3 or 4 games, I think the cash out on him was decent.
Yeah.
But he's had his injuries, and that's Puka Nacua. I think he's got a chance if he can stay healthy and push on. I think he's got a chance of being in the conversation as well.
He's definitely 3rd, isn't he?
Just James Cook not get a bit of an honourable mention with the stats he's putting up?
Running back. That's a good.
No, because I think McCaffrey's been better than Cook.
No, he's up there with Taylor in terms of all them stats there. But I was saying,
but McCaffrey in the receiving games like above a load of wide receivers, isn't he?
Well, he's got over 600 yards, hasn't he? He's got 500.
Yeah, he's the seventh highest receiver.
Well. But I suppose then when we're talking about all of them there, like Taylor with that unreal amount of yards, and then JSN as well. Well, Christian McCaffrey is doing it all, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So surely that would catapult him up to the top of the list. I would have thought.
It's the record.
No one's going above Taylor. If Taylor stays on this trajectory, no one's going above him.
Yeah.
I can't even think of anyone else outside. Well, wide receiver wise, yeah. Say again.
Badgers be badgering. No,
There's
St.
no
Brown's
wide.
got 7 touchdowns, hasn't he? Oh, he's not going to be St. Brown. I'm just throwing names out there now.
Amon Ra.
Yeah, I think he's on 7. I don't know if he's
Yeah.
leading the league. But he's definitely up there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think Jersen's been really standout. And then when you say Puka Nacua, yeah, but he's been injured. And then I'm just trying to think of other receivers where I'm like, yeah, they've been unplayable. I love Amon Ra. I think Amon Ra is so underrated by everybody.
Jamar Chase has looked like a computer game at points. You know,
Yeah.
he's got Joe
Flacco.
Flacco throwing him the ball, and whoever else is throwing him the ball. Jake Browning throwing him the ball, and there's been games where he's just been unplayable. You know, so I don't think he'll get it. He's getting, you know, if you in terms of targets per catches per yards, Jamar Chase is like sort of 30 targets more than everybody else in the league. So I think that's probably.
But he did have 16 receptions in one game, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that he's going to bloat it. No, Keyshawn Butte up there for you, Sky.
No, maybe Demario Douglas after Sunday.
Well, I definitely none of my players are none of the Steelers players are in that conversation, unfortunately. Right, main event MVP time.
Oh,
Are we talking? So let's go with the MVP. Are we talking who's currently playing the MVP now, or who we think is going to win the MVP?
who's currently the MVP?
If the season stops now, who's the MVP?
There's no prizes for guessing, is there? Really?
Well, Fred's surely saying Daniel Jones or
Bo Nix. I actually don't have either of them.
I have one other person other than the obvious who I hope Andrew says, and Freddie will say. But who wants to go first?
You can go first, Guy, if you like. May. You can't spell MVP without Maye. I don't think it's a bad shout.
It's not.
Well,
Yeah.
tell you why.
Yes.
Leads the league in deep balls, completion percentage. Like we said, didn't have a perfect game yesterday, but helped us clinch a key win. Now on an 8-game streak with 200 plus passing yards and 100 QB rating. Brady had 9 in 07. Rodgers had 12 in 2011. It took for year 3 for it to click with Josh Allen. Lamar clicked in year 2, but he hasn't really been a great passer until the last 2 years. We're talking about a guy who was being coached by Gerard Mayo, had a 3-9 record. He's at 2,285 passing yards after 9 games, which is more than where he was at after 12 last year. 17 touchdowns, I think only 4 turnovers. He's only behind Lamar and Sam Darnold for passes per attempt. And yeah, I mean, people laugh. Of course, I'm a Patriots fan. Like Edelman's getting laughed on Fox about picking Drake May when Jay Glazer's picking like Patrick Mahomes because he didn't have Rashee Rice. Drake May's throwing to a Stephon Diggs who was wrote off before the season. Butte, who everyone forgot that he actually was good at LSU.
He was great.
But everyone wrote off the receiving core. And he's made it work with different people each week. So MVP May, baby. There we go.
That sounds like, Andrew, you're on board. Completely on board with that.
At this point in the season, I can't disagree with any of that. I think he at the minute, there was him and another guy.
One guy.
That I thought was playing that. But it's tough with this because I never look at it of who's playing MVP right now. I look at it of who's going to win it. Yeah. So I've had one name sort of set. I thought that he was the guy, and I've changed that after last night's result. So I've defaulted back to Josh Allen because he is easily the best quarterback in the league. Yeah, he's winning it. I think he's going to win it all.
Fred, save me. Who is it?
Baker was the guy that we were talking about, wasn't it? So the stats aren't there as much as May, even though, are they? So
my second wasn't Baker though. I think Fred might say it.
I don't know.
Well, you go, and then if you haven't said it, I'd be shocked.
Who did you say, Andrew?
Well, I think I'm going with Josh Allen because that's who I think is going to win it.
No, but who do you think that he was referring to?
Well, the only other people he could be referring to is Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold. Yeah.
It's 21-2 touchdown to interception ratio.
He's who
37 years old.
He's who I've got. I think.
I thought one of you would surely.
They're 6-2. He's top in touchdowns, only 2 picks, first in yards per game, 268. I mean, he's top 10 in all of the stats, and look how old he is. Look, like there's injuries there. Like he's using a lot of, he's using a lot of different sets in terms of like different tight ends, and there's a lot of young tight ends there as well. Their O-line's all right. Their run game's pretty good with Kyron Williams. Devontae Adams is good, but he's older. Puka Nakua's been injured. He came to London and just tore up in the rain, may we add, as well. Like, I know he played for years and years in the rain. Well, no, he didn't, because 4 fields covered, but he played outside a lot against the Packers and the Bears. But he came to London and he smashed it, and he was awesome. And, he walked away with a sword and a knighthood, as Sky presented to him. As if you've never realized, that was Sky who asked that question to Matt Stafford. So credit to him. Thank you, NFL UK, Colin Cowherd, and etc., who didn't compliment Sky on his question. But we haven't said Daniel Jones.
No, because Jonathan Taylor's the star.
If Daniel Jones won the MVP, I would stop watching the NFL.
He's not the star of the show on his own team.
Is he not?
People on Fox were saying him as well, and it was doing my head in that again. Drake May was being laughed at.
He's just playing well and managing the ball and his time well on the field. I don't think he's carrying the team. I think Jonathan Taylor's carrying the team.
I think, Andrew, you've hit the nail on the head for me to. I'm sure you'll agree. Hope what I'm about to say. We talk about game managing, and there's 2 types. Cam Newton spoke about this. There's managing the game when you're an elite quarterback or a quarterback coming through, like time of possession and the way you manage that. And then there's just someone who's managing because they've got other superstars on their team, and they just need to. They can't do everything, so they're relying on other people to get them by. And without being harsh, that's him. We saw that yesterday. Steelers pass rush got going, and if any team does that, like you said, Fred, the blueprint is there now. If you actually manage to limit Taylor and put the ball in Daniel Jones's hands, you're going to force turnovers and win the game.
I think that's
the flip side. You've got Josh Allen, who literally puts the team on his back and goes, "Don't worry, guys, I've got this."
He was ridiculous.
That's my only thing I would say is, I think the MVP also has to play incredible in crisis. And I don't think we've seen that yet from May properly. I think we've seen it. I know he's not got the talent, but when the chips are really badly down for him, I've not seen that just yet, that from May. Whereas I've seen it with Allen and I've seen it with Stafford. And I know it shouldn't matter, but we have seen it historically as well. And I do think that does play a little bit of a factor in MVP as well, unfortunately. But I think it does. I think that's why sometimes people win it when we think they shouldn't have won it because of circumstantial. People. Burrow last year, everyone was like, if he'd just got a winning record, he should be clearly the MVP. But he didn't win it, did he? Because he had a losing record. And I do think them things do counter into it. And I don't agree that it is, but we've seen Allen. You're right with Allen. Allen does put the team on his back, but I would say he's got a pretty all right support. He's got a pretty good supporting cast. James Cook is a pretty good supporting cast. Dalton Kincaid's pretty good. Same with Stafford. Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua, Kyron Williams. That is a good supporting cast. May really doesn't have a good supporting cast at all, really. Like, he actually hasn't. He is, I think you say Josh Allen puts the team on his back. Yes. But I think May has no other option but to put the team on his back in a way. Do you think that's a fair criticism?
What are you saying? You only said Kincaid, really, for a tight end. He's got Keon Coleman and
Josh Palmer.
Khalil Shakir.
I think Josh Allen's just embraced it now. He's like the savior of Buffalo.
Yeah.
If he gets them a Super Bowl, like free drinks forever, basically.
One discussion that I heard on a show that all 3 of us listened to, which is Colin Cowherd's show, was about the sort of Hall of Fameness of Matthew Stafford, which I think all 3 of us would agree is going to the Hall of Fame. But actually now on that pecking order of all-time greats, if he continues at his trajectory, like if he was to win a second Super Bowl this year, where does he suddenly get catapulted to in terms of the grades? I think you've got to put him up there.
It's hard to put him above. I don't think you're going to put him above Brady.
No.
And Manning of recent times, and then Elway and people like that. I can't see him get.
Rodgers will still be above him, annoyingly. Even Brett Favre might be.
I don't think you could say Rodgers would be above him anymore.
I like that.
He can because he's won the Super Bowls. He had those back-to-back MVPs. You could argue that technically, in the way that he played, that Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback to play. It's just Tom Brady had the mindset and the game management and all of that to go with it. But the way that Aaron Rodgers played, skill-wise, there hasn't been many like that. So I don't think. So
if he doesn't break top 5, does he break top 10?
He breaks top 10.
Yeah, I think you put him in the top 10. I think
that's top 10 now.
If people put Mahomes in the top 10, then I'm sorry, if Stafford won a second Super Bowl, you would put him in the top 10 and be like, let Patrick's career bloody finish first.
Imagine if we wouldn't be having this conversation if Stafford just played for a decent team for the majority of his career, would we? Because I used to say to Fred all the time when Fred used to be like, they need to move off of Stafford. They need to draft a new quarterback. He's done. He's washed. He's over. And I'm like, no, Fred. He's incredible. He's so good. Look at the stats. Look at this. Feeding him information, and then he goes to the Rams and look what he's done. So
I was right though.
I love.
He was washed.
You're right in a different way.
I was right that Detroit should move on from him.
Not for your reasons why.
I think both parties have benefited massively from moving on.
Yes, but it was like 2 years prior to that.
He's so good. There was like one famous game where I think he like blew his shoulder out and still came on to like throw a game-winning touch. It was like, yeah, he probably could be in the top 10. And it would be a bit similar to a John Elway where like end of the career getting Super Bowls and, like starting to rack them up on a, I mean, I know you said the Rams are young. I still think they're a stacked team. And that goes down to how McVay builds the team and what they've done. But, like, they're a legit contender. Yeah. And Adams, at this point in his career, is an upgrade, which is mad to say on Cooper Kupp. I mean, he should be the MVP a few years ago, but, yeah.
Adams said before the season started, if you read any of his articles, he said if Stafford stays healthy, they played the Bills in the Super Bowl. He was adamant that was it.
He had it on the show. We had our hot takes for the season, and he said that Jared Verse will win Defensive Player of the Year and the Rams will win the Super Bowl.
So he might be right about one of them.
Well, he could be right in terms of a Rams player gets Defensive Player of the Year, because if Byron Young wins it, yes, you're right, he got the wrong edge rusher, but you could argue that he was still in the realms of it. I mean, mine's not looking so bad with Zach Taylor and all that sort of stuff, but that was a different show, different times, everything like that. So I think we're landing on
AVP
currently. AVP. You're saying today, I think you can't argue that that's not the fairest shout at the minute.
You've made my day.
You've made my day. Drake made my day. Well, Andrew, Sky, thank you very much for doing this episode. Thank you all for listening or watching wherever you are. You can find this episode on YouTube, and make sure you like and subscribe, and on all podcast platforms as well. Make sure you follow us on social media and follow us, like our stuff and share our stuff. That would be very kind of you. We have the college show coming up this week with Andrew and Alex, and the betting show coming at the weekend with Andrew and Adam as well. So make sure you check them out. Until then, we'll see you all again very soon.